Hello everyone. Welcome to another session on methodology of literature, and this is like a session after the Onam holidays. Okay, so I hope you all have enjoyed your time Onam vacation, and we have already seen in the previous lectures about the history of Australia. And in this particular session, we are moving on to the Australian literature. Okay, Australian literature is basically, you can say, the written or the oral literary tradition produced in the area or by the people of Commonwealth of Australia and its preceding colonies. So it is basically about the written and oral literary tradition, okay, of people of Australia, or you can say its preceding colonies. Now, another important thing that you have to remember in this context that there are certain characteristically certain collective values that you can see in the Australian literature. They usually talk about the experiences of the individual, because Australia, as we have seen in the history of Australia, that in Australia is like it has got a very distinct kind of an origin. Okay, Australia as a nation has got a distinct kind of origin. They don't have a kind of that history that we are talking about, or you can say the tradition that we are talking about when it comes to Europe, or you can say in the context of India. Okay, or you can say the other Asian countries. Their history is entirely different, and because of that you can see that they talk more about individual experiences. Okay, and they talk usually about something that is quite ordinary, typical and representative of Australian feelings. Okay, and usually they talk about integration. Okay, they talk about they don't like all these heroism of individuals, or usually we not see such things in Australian literature. Yet you can say that they talk about the struggles, they talk about the hardships, they talk about the travels, or you can say even the exploration of the people into the wilderness of Australia. Okay, so all these things are the major themes that you can see in Australian literature. Now, with that kind of an introduction, let me get into the literature. Australia became a British settlement in the 18th century. We have already seen that. It is with the arrival of Lieutenant James Cook in 1770. Can say Australia has become more or less like British. Then the native people, they have got a very strong oral culture, and we have already seen that the indigenous Australians, they have a continuous history, and they have a distinct culture of their own. And because of that, their literary traditions, their myths, their legends, it normally they don't go hand in hand with the later settled Europeans. So they have got their own cultures, their own story, their own songs, their own legends, and you can say that they have their own allegiances and relationships with various other countries or other Aboriginal people. Okay, so there is a kind of a continuance in their culture, which is even it was even a threat to the so-called mainstream Australian literature also. They usually consider it that way, and now it's like the other way around, like the Aboriginals, their literature is in fact being threatened by the so-called mainstream Australian culture. So the phase of colonialism, that's the initial phase in the context of Australia. So it is later, you can say, there is a phase of nationalism from 1901, when Australia has become a confederation of Australia. At that time, from that time onwards, you can see in the Australian writings, mostly by the Europeans who settled in Australia, or the other foreigners who settled in Australia, they have started writing about their nationalism from 1901. So 1788, as we have already seen, Australia was a penal colony, and because of that, the writings of various runners focusing more on convict life, bushrangers, and transcendental romanticism. These are the major themes that you can see in the context of Australia. And these bushrangers are nothing but the escaped convicts. Okay, in the early years of British settlement of Australia, they used to hide behind the bush, and they escaped from the authorities. And you can see that these set of people who escaped from the prisons, or you can say from the authorities, they thrived during the gold rush periods in Australia, especially in 1850s and 1860s. There is a kind of a gold rush. We see a similar gold rush in 1830s and 1848 in America. Similarly, you have a kind of a gold rush in Australia also. Okay, so they thrived. They became they strengthened during this particular time, 1850s and 1860s. So they're basically about the escaped convicts from the authorities, bushrangers. So these are the major themes that you can see in Australian literature, especially in the initial phase of Australian literature. So Baron Fields, the first fruits of Australian poetry, it was in the 1819. Then you have Kinder Servington by Henry Savary, the first significant Australian novel, you can say, that is that. Then another important writer, the first most important writer that you have to remember is Marcus Clarke, and for the term of his natural life, that's the name of the work. Okay, so very important writer, you can say, from Australia. And as I've already mentioned, in 1901, there is a kind of a phase of nationalism in Australia. Till then, we more or less consider it as the phase of colonialism. From 1901, from Australia, when Australia became a kind of a confederation, or you can say more or less independent. It's not fully independent, it's kind of a more or less independent nation. That time they have started talking about Australia for Australians. Then another important writer is Norman Lonsay, and his work The Magic Pudding is one of the most important work in children's literature. Then another important writer, and a few writers are Mary Gilmore. Then we have Walter Murdoch. Then E.J. Barnfield. You can say to a great extent they bridged the past and the present. Of the names that we have discussed so far, I go for one important name is Marcus Clarke, and another is Norman Lonsay's The Magic Pudding. Okay, rest of the names, you can definitely exam point of view, that's not that important. Okay, then we have Henry Handel Richardson's woman novelist, Richardson, a woman novelist. Then you have Morse Guest, The Fortune and of Richard Mahoney. These are the works of Henry. Then another important concept that you have to remember is the Jindi Warabak movement. I pronounce it in the word we actually spell it, as I usually do. Okay, Jindi Warabak movement, it is basically an Australian literary movement, first point literary movement, which was in the 1930s and 1940s. It is basically by the whites of Australia, usually poets. Okay, and what exactly they used to do? They contributed to a unique Australian culture, or you can say they have developed, they have constructed a unique Australian culture. That is what we have to remember. They have constructed a unique Australian culture. Okay, how exactly they have created a unique Australian culture? Through the integration of indigenous Australian subjects, language and mythology. These are the three ways you can say they talked about Australians, the indigenous Australians. They incorporated their language language, and their mythology, their legends. They have talked about their legends. Indigenous Australians, their legends they have incorporated. By who? By the whites. Okay, by the settlers in Australia. They integrated what the indigenous Australians, or their culture, their subjects, their language, their mythology, their legends, and through that, these whites in 1930s and 1940s, they have developed, or you can say they have contributed, they have constructed, they have created a unique Australian culture. So this is called as Chindi Warobak movement. Okay, and it is basically, I have told you, in 1901 they have started talking about Australia for the Australians. So their aim was in fact to free Australian art from whatever alien influences it had, especially the European influences. Australia, they talked about Australian landscape. Okay, they created, you can say, Australian history, Australian tradition, the primeval, colonial, and modern. They have divided it into three. Okay, history and tradition, and they talked about that. Okay, it began in Adelaide in southern Australia in 1937, but you can say that it spread out to almost all the groups, you can say, in Australia. Okay, so that is basically about Chindi Warobak movement. And one most important writer you cannot forget when we talk about Australian literature is Patrick White. He's the first Australian to win Nobel Prize in literature, and his three important works are The Tree of Man, Wars, and Riders in a Chariot. You have to remember the works also. He's the first Australian to win Nobel Prize. That point also you have to remember. Then another important, there's a spelling mistake. Another important writer is Judith Wright. Judith Wright started that in poetry, but you can say that she evolved as a very important critique also in the later part. And then other few names are David Campbell, James Macleay. Then we have Rosemary Dobson. They all contributed to post-war poetry in Australia. Then we have, in case of drama, we have a symbolist tradition. The Douglas Stewart, he is in fact famous for radio plays. Okay, and we have Ned Kelly. One of the most important work is Fire on the Snow. Another important writer is Alan Seymour. The One Day of the Year. It's a particular, Anzac plot. Anzac is basically, it's a day where they remember all those people who died in wars or conflicts or peacekeeping operations, you can say. It's a national day of remembrance in Australia and also in New Zealand. Okay, so it's just like the Independence Day. They don't have a kind of a particular Independence Day. So more or less like that, all those people who served for this particular nation, they consider it as Anzac Day. So Alan Seymour's this One Day of the Year is it's in fact a book based on that. It's an Australian play about. It was written in 1958, and it is about an Anzac Day. Okay, and it's like very important. It was initially it was rejected by the Australian, the major mainstream Australian writers, or you can say mainstream Australian critics, but later it is considered one of the most important work from Australia. So Alan Seymour you have to remember. Then you have to remember Sally Morgan, My Place, and it's in fact part of the Aboriginal writings from Australia. Also we have Peter Carey, another important name, because he has received Booker Prize. The work is Oscar and Lucinda, very important work. Okay, then we have Thomas Keneally. Another important writer you cannot forget is David Malouf. He is a very famous poet, not just a poet. He is a very influential person at different in different stages, you can say. So David Malouf, he is a very important writer that you cannot forget. So that is about, you can say briefly about Australian literature. As I've told you, Australian literature is pretty very vast, but we don't have to. There is no need to get into the every single details of Australian literature. You just have to remember a few names like Patrick White, Peter Carey, and then David Malouf. These are the important writers that you have to remember. Otherwise, you don't. This is not the time to get into. As from you look at from the your syllabus, that particular perspective. You don't have to get into all the details of Australian literature, but you should not forget that Australians has got a very significant oral tradition, especially through the Aboriginal narratives, which is less discussed by the mainstream literary circles, but they have contributed a lot to the world literature and also to Australian literature. So with that I conclude. Stay tuned. God bless.